You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Before diving headfirst into security automation, it is critical to pause and consider the design principles that determine whether automation strengthens security or accidentally creates new risks. The key considerations are safety, observability, ownership, and rollback. Safety means ensuring automation cannot cause widespread damage if it malfunctions. For example, disabling every user account because of a false trigger. Observability ensures automation is transparent, with logs and metrics showing what it did and why. Ownership defines who is responsible for maintaining, monitoring, and improving each workflow. Without this, automation quickly becomes orphaned and dangerous. Rollback refers to having a clear path to undo automation's actions if they are later determined to be harmful. Together, these considerations form the guardrails that prevent automation from becoming a liability. For learners, think of them like the four cornerstones of building a bridge. Without each one, safety nets, inspection windows, responsible engineers, and escape routes, the bridge may collapse. Automation, like infrastructure, must be designed with failure and recovery in mind. Another consideration is idempotence, which means automation should be designed so that running it multiple times produces the same result without unintended side effects. Imagine a script that disables a suspicious user account. If the script runs once, the account is disabled. If it runs again due to duplicate triggers, nothing should change, rather than, say, disabling additional unrelated accounts. Without idempotence, automation risks creating runaway side effects when triggered repeatedly. This is especially important in event-driven systems, where alerts may fire multiple times for the same condition. Idempotent design prevents repetitive actions from compounding mistakes and ensures reliability even under noisy conditions. For learners, a helpful analogy is painting a wall. If you apply a fresh coat, the wall stays painted, but it doesn't keep layering on infinitely until the wall collapses. Idempotence keeps automation predictable, safe, and stable, even when triggers are duplicated or conditions repeat. Secure credential management is also a fundamental design principle in automation. Too many automation failures have been caused not by faulty logic, but by secrets embedded directly into scripts. Hard-coded passwords, API keys, or tokens become long-lived liabilities that attackers can easily exploit if exposed in version control or logs. Instead, automation should always use ephemeral tokens that expire quickly, retrieved securely from Vault systems at runtime. Vault integration ensures secrets are rotated, encrypted, and auditable. By relying on Vault APIs, automation workflows never need to know the password. They request access dynamically and discard it once done. For learners, imagine checking out a visitor badge at a secure building. It grants temporary access and becomes useless when you leave. That is exactly how secrets for automation should work. Proper credential handling prevents automation from becoming a soft target for attackers while preserving operational integrity. Input validation is another safeguard that protects automation from misuse. Scripts and APIs should never blindly accept inputs without verifying their format, range, or origin. Without validation, attackers or even accidental misconfigurations can inject malicious commands or unintended values, causing automation to behave dangerously. For example, a script that accepts a host name as input should confirm it matches expected patterns, not allow arbitrary commands to execute. Similarly, limits should be placed on ranges, preventing a request to block one IP address from accidentally blocking an entire subnet. Input validation ensures that automation acts only on clean, expected data. For learners, this can be compared to airport security checking tickets before boarding. If anyone could present anything that looked like a ticket, chaos would result. Validation screens inputs to protect against both intentional abuse and unintentional errors. Testing is the bedrock of reliable automation. Just as software is never deployed without rigorous testing, automation playbooks must be validated at multiple levels. Unit tests confirm that individual functions behave as expected. Integration tests validate that the playbook interacts correctly with external systems like CEMs, firewalls, or endpoint detection tools. Staged production pilots provide the final proof, running automation in controlled environments with limited traffic before wide rollout. Without testing, automation is guesswork, and failures often occur in production at the worst possible times. By building structured testing pipelines, organizations ensure automation remains robust, predictable, and trustworthy. For learners, think of this like rehearsing for a play. Actors first practice lines, then scenes, then full dress rehearsals before opening night. Automation deserves the same staged practice, catching mistakes early before they cause costly real-world errors. Monitoring and alerting are essential once automation is live. Every run should generate logs showing inputs, actions, and outcomes. Metrics like success rates, execution times, and error counts provide insight into performance and reliability. Alerts should trigger when workflows fail, behave unusually, or produce unexpected results. For example, if a containment playbook suddenly begins isolating far more endpoints than usual, that anomaly should be flagged for immediate review. Monitoring transforms automation from a black box into a transparent system where issues can be detected and corrected before they escalate. Without monitoring, automation risks failing silently, creating false confidence. For learners, this can be compared to driving a car with no dashboard. Without gauges, you may not notice the engine overheating until it breaks down. Monitoring ensures automation remains safe, accountable, and effective. Audit trails and immutable logs strengthen accountability and trust. Every automated action must be logged in a way that cannot be tampered with, showing what was done, when, and why. These logs provide forensic evidence during investigations and compliance proof during audits. Immutable logging systems such as write-once storage or blockchain-style append-only ledgers ensure records cannot be erased or altered. This prevents attackers, or even insiders, from covering their tracks. For example, if an automation workflow disables accounts, the log should show exactly which accounts, at what time, and from what trigger. For learners, immutable logs are like black boxes on airplanes. No matter what happens, investigators can review them to reconstruct events. Without this transparency, automation creates uncertainty. With it, automation builds trust and accountability, proving its actions align with policy and intent. Governance structures provide discipline for automation programs. Governance means that workflows must be approved through structured processes, not deployed ad hoc. Each automation should have an assigned owner who maintains and reviews it regularly. Periodic review cycles ensure playbooks remain relevant, secure, and effective as environments evolve. Without governance, automation becomes a collection of one-off experiments, each with unknown risks and no accountability. With governance, automation matures into a trusted operational framework aligned with business and security objectives. For learners, governance can be thought of like building codes in construction. You don't want people throwing up houses without inspections or permits. Similarly, automation requires approval, ownership, and review to ensure it meets standards, remains safe, and evolves responsibly over time. High-risk or uncertain contexts often require human-in-the-loop designs. Automation should not make irreversible decisions when confidence is low or the blast radius is high. Instead, it can gather data, propose actions, and wait for analyst confirmation. For example, a phishing playbook may collect evidence, flag malicious indicators, and prepare to quarantine inboxes but pause for human approval before taking action. This balance preserves speed for preparation while ensuring humans retain control over risky steps. For learners, this is like autopilot on an airplane. The system may handle cruising and altitude adjustments, but takeoffs and landings in bad weather still require the pilot's judgment. Human-in-the-loop automation ensures machines assist humans but do not override them in critical decisions. Fallbacks and circuit breakers add final layers of safety to automation. Fallbacks provide manual alternatives if automation fails, ensuring operations continue. Circuit breakers halt automation when abnormal metrics occur, such as when error rates spike or too many systems are impacted at once. This prevents automation storms, where misconfigured workflows cause cascading failures. For example, if a containment script tries to isolate thousands of endpoints simultaneously, a circuit breaker can pause execution, alert operators, and prevent mass outages. For learners, think of this like electrical circuits in a house. Breakers trip when current flows abnormally, preventing fires. Automation needs similar safeguards to prevent small errors from cascading into large-scale damage. Circuit breakers ensure automation fails safely rather than catastrophically. A practical first step for organizations exploring automation is to enforce dry run outputs for any workflow that writes to remote configurations. Before enabling writes, automation should generate a no-op report showing what changes it would make. A test harness can validate those outputs, ensuring they match expectations and cause no harm. Only after passing dry run validation should writes be enabled. This cautious approach builds confidence and prevents dangerous surprises in production. For learners, think of this as rehearsing a fire drill before pulling the real alarm. Dry runs let you see the outcome without the risk, building assurance that when automation goes live, it will behave exactly as intended. This simple practice prevents many of the most common automation disasters. Safe escalation patterns are essential when automation encounters ambiguous or high-impact conditions. While many actions can be automated end-to-end, not every situation is black and white. Escalation patterns ensure that when automation detects uncertainty, it pauses and alerts humans rather than taking risky actions. For example, if suspicious login activity is detected but the context is incomplete, the workflow may gather evidence and recommend disabling accounts but wait for analyst review before proceeding. Escalation can also involve tiered responses. Isolate a device temporarily, then escalate to permanent containment only if further evidence confirms compromise. For learners, this is like a medical triage nurse who can treat minor wounds automatically but refers unclear or life-threatening cases to a doctor. Automation should be empowered to act confidently in low-risk scenarios, but must defer when ambiguity or risk exceeds predefined thresholds. Escalation patterns keep automation effective while preserving human judgment for situations where nuance and experience are irreplaceable. Throttling and rate limiting are another safety requirement, particularly during large-scale incidents. Automation storms can occur when hundreds or thousands of alerts trigger at once, causing workflows to act in parallel without limits. Without throttling, this may overwhelm systems, create outages, or lock out legitimate users en masse. Rate limiting ensures automation processes only a controlled number of events at a time, while queues handle the backlog. Quotas cap the total scope of actions, such as disabling no more than 50 accounts in one batch without human approval. These measures prevent automation from amplifying chaos during mass events. For learners, think of this like crowd control at a stadium. Turnstiles regulate the flow so people enter safely without crushing surges. Similarly, throttling ensures automation scales responsibly, responding quickly but without creating collateral damage. This approach balances speed with stability, ensuring large-scale events are contained methodically rather than explosively. Feature flags and staged enablement are design strategies that allow controlled rollouts of automation. A feature flag is essentially a switch that enables or disables certain automation behaviors without changing the underlying code. This lets teams test automation gradually, activating new functions for a small group of systems before expanding. Staged enablement provides phases: development, testing, pilot production, and full deployment. If problems arise, features can be rolled back instantly via the flag without lengthy redeployments. This ensures automation evolves safely and predictably rather than through all-or-nothing deployments. For learners, this is like dimmer switches for lights. Instead of flipping all the lights on at once, you can gradually brighten the room, adjusting until it feels comfortable. Feature flags bring that same fine-grained control to automation rollouts. allowing experimentation, quick rollback, and safer scaling. Ownership Service Level Agreements, or SLAs, are another critical piece of automation governance. Every automation must have a defined owner responsible for its reliability updates and on-call support when failures occur. Ownership SLAs specify expectations, how quickly failures must be investigated, how often playbooks are reviewed, and how incidents are escalated. Without SLAs, automation failures may linger unresolved, eroding trust. With SLAs, responsibility is clear and accountability is enforceable. For learners, think of this like assigning caretakers for equipment. If a machine breaks down, you need to know who maintains it and how quickly they will respond. Ownership SLAs transform automation from hobby projects into operational infrastructure with the same seriousness as servers, networks, or applications. They ensure automation is monitored, repaired, and improved on defined timelines, not just when convenient. Automated regression testing ensures playbooks survive infrastructure or API changes. Security environments evolve constantly. Tools get upgraded, APIs deprecate, and infrastructure shifts. Without regression testing, automation may silently break when dependencies change. Automated regression tests rerun workflows in simulated environments after every change, confirming that outcomes remain correct. For example, if a vendor updates an endpoint detection API, regression testing will flag failures before they impact production. This ensures automation adapts alongside the environment instead of falling behind. For learners, regression testing can be compared to safety checks after renovating a building. Just because new wiring was installed doesn't mean everything still works as expected. Automated tests verify that the upgrades didn't break existing functionality. In automation, regression tests prevent silent failures and ensure resilience over time. Legal and privacy reviews are increasingly important for automations that process sensitive data. Collecting logs, user information, or behavioral data at scale may implicate privacy laws such as GDPR or HIPAA. Automation must therefore be designed with data minimization and proper handling in mind. Reviews ensure workflows only collect what is necessary, store it securely, and respect user privacy rights. For example, an automation that processes email content to detect phishing must consider whether personal data is being scanned, and if so, whether safeguards are in place. Without these reviews, automation may inadvertently create compliance violations, undoing its benefits. For learners, think of this like installing security cameras. They protect the building, but laws dictate where they can point, how footage is stored, and who may view it. Privacy reviews ensure automation strengthens defense without overstepping legal or ethical boundaries. Maintenance cadence ensures automation remains current and effective. Playbooks and libraries require periodic reviews to confirm they still meet organizational needs, align with evolving threats, and integrate with updated systems. Dependencies like external libraries must be patched regularly to avoid vulnerabilities. Stale or unused playbooks should be pruned to prevent clutter and confusion. Establishing a cadence monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual reviews keeps automation ecosystems healthy. Without this discipline, playbooks drift into obsolescence, accumulating technical debt. For learners, think of maintenance like servicing a car. You wouldn't expect a vehicle to run smoothly forever without oil changes or inspections. Automation also requires regular checkups to remain efficient, safe, and trustworthy. Metrics are vital for judging automation, safety, and effectiveness. Useful metrics include rollback rate, which measures how often automation had to be reversed, unintended outage count, showing how often automation caused disruptions, and manual intervention frequency, which signals how often humans must step in because automation cannot handle complexity. Tracking these metrics provides visibility into automation health and guides improvement. For example, a high rollback rate indicates workflows are risky and need refinement. Low manual intervention suggests automation is stable and trustworthy. For learners, think of this like keeping statistics on sports players. You don't just count how many games they play, you track their performance to understand strengths and weaknesses. Metrics make automation measurable, turning subjective impressions into actionable insights. Retraining and upskilling analysts is another consideration that often gets overlooked. As automation grows, analysts must shift from executing manual tasks to supervising, tuning, and improving automated workflows. This requires new skills in scripting, API use, and logic design. Without training, analysts may feel displaced or unprepared, creating resistance. With training, they become empowered, understanding how automation works and how to use it safely. For learners, think of this like teaching drivers how to use advanced car features. Cruise control and lane assist don't replace the driver but require new knowledge to operate effectively. Upskilling ensures analysts remain central to operations, leveraging automation as an ally rather than fearing it as a replacement. Dependency management is another critical technical consideration. Automation often relies on external APIs, cloud services, and third-party integrations. These dependencies can change unexpectedly. Credentials expire, endpoints are deprecated, or providers alter functionality. Without proactive management, these shifts break workflows. Teams must track dependencies, monitor for updates, and plan migrations in advance. Credential lifecycles should be tied to vaults and rotation policies, avoiding long-lived tokens that silently expire. For learners, dependency management is like maintaining supply chains in a factory. If one supplier changes their product, the factory must adapt quickly or face production halts. Automation is similarly vulnerable to its suppliers' APIs, services, and credentials that require ongoing oversight. Ultimately, scaling security automation requires careful design, governance, and observability. Automation cannot be treated as one-off scripts or isolated experiments. It must be engineered with safety nets like circuit breakers, designed with transparency through telemetry and logs, and governed with ownership, approvals, and maintenance cycles. The benefits, speed, scale, and consistency are real, but they come only when automation is managed responsibly. For learners, the lesson is clear. Automation is not set and forget. It is infrastructure, as critical as servers or firewalls, and must be treated with the same rigor. With discipline, automation becomes a resilient ally, multiplying defenses and reducing risk. Without it, automation risks becoming brittle, dangerous, and counterproductive. Success lies in governance, safety, and continuous improvement. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.